Latest poll results continue to indicate increasing support for the NDP. Resolute Forest Products holds its annual general meeting in Thunder Bay. And 15 injured in a Mississauga restaurant bombing.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. With less than 2 weeks to go until the provincial election, a Forum Research poll shows a new party in potential majority territory. A random sampling of 906 Ontarians indicates we could see Andrea Horwath's New Democrats form the next Ontario government. Scott Lightfoot has details.
Andrea Horwath got off her campaign bus smiling this morning with a new Forum Research poll putting NDP support at 47% among decided and leaning voters.
People feel like there's something exciting that can happen in our province, that we don't have to settle for the same thing we've settled for the last 2.5 decades.
The poll of 906 Ontario voters suggests that if the election were held today, the NDP would form a majority government with 79 seats.
It's scary. It's scary to even think what the NDP government would do to this province.
Whereas the PCs, who had been the frontrunners, now polling in second with 33% support and just 40 seats.
You know something? We're running a strong campaign. Again, we're crisscrossing Ontario. We're getting a phenomenal response. I'm getting a phenomenal response here. People want change.
The Liberals remain in third with just 14% support and would lose official party status with just 5 seats. But, as Liberal leader Kathleen Wynne pointed out, the campaign is only half over.
And the first half of the campaign really has been a referendum on Doug Ford, because there was a lot of momentum in terms of the Conservatives. I think that what's happened is that in the first 2 weeks, because we're at the halfway point today, in the first 2 weeks, people have looked at Doug Ford and have said, you know what, that's not the direction we want to go.
Our local election coverage continues tonight with a look at the candidates running for the Green Party, the Libertarians, and the Northern Ontario Party in Thunder Bay Atikokan. Shane Pasquino has more in this candidate profile.
John Northey is once again representing the Green Party of Ontario. Northey, who also ran in the 2014 election, was born and raised in Cambridge, Ontario, before moving to Thunder Bay in 2012. He says hydro rates are already through the roof because of nuclear power, something he believes Ontario needs to steer clear of.
Nuclear power plants are asking for a 180% increase over the next 10 years, which is kind of frightening given how high our electricity prices already are. And given none of that nuclear power benefits northwestern Ontario, it's all strictly for southern Ontario. I think it's insane for us to sign another one of these deals when we've got Quebec offering power at less than half of what the nuclear plants are asking for. So we should be using that for southern Ontario, which will lower the hydro rates for everyone in the province.
Next up is Northern Ontario Party candidate for Thunder Bay Atikokan, David Bruno. Bruno's family has run Donato's Bakery for a number of years. Bruno believes the Ministry of Natural Resources needs to play a much bigger role in northwestern Ontario.
I'd like to see the Ministry of Natural Resources really established in the place where the natural resources are, and that's here in the Northwest. And there's another example that I want to give you. I mean, how many times have we read in the media a Toronto mining company? I mean, how ridiculous is that? First of all, are they mining in Toronto? Is that what's happening? No, they're mining it here. Toronto has the largest commodity exchange, but let's face it, the commodities are not being mined in the subway of Toronto or the GTA. They're mined here. So a little bit of respect is where I would start.
Dorothy Snell will be running for the Libertarian Party. Snell lives in Fenelon Falls and will not be coming to the riding during the campaign. Shane Pasquino, TBT News.
Meanwhile, there's another election coming up this year, the municipal vote in October, and a local group aims to make it easier for everyone to cast their ballot. The Municipal Accessibility Advisory Committee held a public session last night to familiarize people with the voting process and explain new options and locations. This year, the committee is focused on making voting more accessible for people with disabilities. That effort includes an audio voting option for the visually impaired, an option using headphones for others with hearing or visual impairments, and online voting to improve overall accessibility for everybody.
I think it's important for people to be educated about the options for voting and to encourage everybody to get out and vote. And to let your voice be heard.
Particularly with the disabled community, they're a community that maybe haven't had as strong a voice as they have in the past, and so it's really important to get everyone's opinions and everyone's voices in the community, and the disabled community have some very strong points and very valid points that they have to make, and one of the best ways that they can do that as a citizen is by casting a vote.
Session organizers also took feedback from people with disabilities regarding other ways to improve the voting process. The municipal election is on October 22nd. The top brass from Resolute Forest Products gathered in Thunder Bay this morning as the company held its annual general meeting at Confederation College. Resolute's current and former CEOs were on hand to outline the company's priorities in the region. Carmen Wong reports.
Resolute Forest Products held this year's annual general meeting at Confederation College. Stockholders of the company, along with the board of directors and executive team, talked about the priorities of Resolute moving forward. New CEO Yves Laflamme says the company has invested $200 million over the last few years into its 3 sawmills in northwestern Ontario. And Resolute has begun to commercialize the biochemicals derived from wood at the Thunder Bay pulp mill. Laflamme says it's important to continue to invest in projects in this region.
We keep investing money to be more productive and be more efficient in those assets. And we also have what we call an innovation project right now at the mill to get the lignin out of the fiber and producing sugar. So that's something new. It's a pilot plant, but it's pretty much what we have in northwestern Ontario for now.
Resolute owns or operates about 40 manufacturing facilities as well as power generation assets in Canada and the U.S. Laflamme says the company is watching the NAFTA talks closely.
NAFTA is really important, being free trade with the United States, because it's a huge customer of us, even though we have facilities in both sides of the countries. We have CVD and anti-dumping and uncoated ground wood, and we have the coated paper that we have CVDK. So, which is a lot, and it's a lot of money. So, of course, that it does affect the company. It's a really, really big thing for us.
Resolute announced the appointment of Laflamme as CEO and president in February. He succeeds Richard Garneau, who has worked for Resolute for 44 years. Garneau says he has full confidence in Laflamme's abilities to lead the company. Although Garneau is retiring, he'll continue to work with Resolute as an advisor to Laflamme, and he hopes the company will keep heading in the right direction.
I think that it's really a sustainable development. It's a balance between environment, the social, and the economic. So, and I think that I hope that Resolute is going to continue to work in that direction, work with the communities, make sure that the product, the trees that we convert into lumber, pulp, and paper are going to be there for the next generation and the next generation.
Carmen Wong, TBT News.
A 25-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly threatening a hotel employee after being denied entry to the facility. Thunder Bay Police responded to a 911 call from staff of a Dawson Road hotel Thursday night. It's alleged that the accused entered the lobby of the business but was refused entry by the 40-year-old male employee. The suspect then returned and was again denied. This time he pulled a knife and began making his way into the hotel. Officers arrived within minutes and the suspect was found at the rear of the building. He's been charged with assault with a weapon. And police are asking for public help to locate a missing man. 23-year-old Isaac Chung hasn't been heard from in several days. Chung was reported missing on Tuesday by family members who are concerned for his welfare. He's described as 5'7" with a thin build, short brown hair, and brown eyes. Chung himself is being urged to contact his family. Also, anyone with information as to his whereabouts is asked to contact Thunder Bay Police. A local program that provides gently used clothing and toys to families in need has found a new home. Precious Bundles has signed a 2-year lease for a new affordable space in Westfort. 2 weeks ago, the organization was worried about having to close its doors as the rent in its current space is going up by 45%. Precious Bundles put out a plea to the public looking for help, and a property owner on Brock Street came forward, offering them a location they can afford. The move is expected to be complete by the end of June. Volunteer board member Emily Shandrook says the organization received overwhelming community support following the plea.
The way in which the community has come forward was beyond any of our expectations. You know, the ideas, the location inquiries, and just the people that said, you know, if you need help with financially sustaining yourself with the rent increase, you know, we're there to help. Our goal wasn't just to find sort of a stopgap, but was to find a new home that we could really rely on for more than 1 year.
The new space will allow the organization to continue to deliver more than 600 bundles a year to families around the city. Well, the foodie scene in Thunder Bay continues to thrive. A new mobile restaurant has opened, and it's sure to turn some heads. A city woman has purchased a double-decker bus from Minnesota and turned it into a unique place to eat. Corey Nordstrom has more.
Thunder Bay now has its newest addition to the food truck industry, and this one is double the fun. Michelle Hamilton has been working for over 3 years to turn her dreams into a reality and has now opened up the Union Jack Bustraurant. The food truck makes use of its second tier for even more seating in addition to the tables out front. Originally from Scotland, the double-decker bus was in the Minnesota town of Beaver Bay for years until Hamilton laid eyes to it. She hopes others will notice the work she's put into the Bustraurant and that it can inspire them as well.
I'm hoping to raise awareness of what you can do with nothing. I'm hoping to inspire more women that they put their mind forth, they can accomplish.
Her creativity shines throughout the bus. Having spent many hours in the Habitat for Humanity Restore, most of the restaurant is made from repurposed products, like using old wire rollers for tables. For the opening of the Bustraurant, Hamilton will donate the proceeds to the Restore for their support along the way. Habitat CEO Randy Moore says he's blown away with what she was able to create out of the things from the Restore.
When people think of the Restore, they think of home repairs, you know, kitchen, bathroom, that kind of stuff. But Michelle was able to come in and find all kinds of items that she was able to repurpose and get into the bus and really, you know, make this the functional, you know, restaurant that it's become.
The Bustraurant will be open again Saturday at the Restore from 11 to 4. But its regular home after that will be at the Northern Lights Golf Course, serving dishes ranging from burgers to waffle dogs, as well as expanding the menu to let the customers have input along the way. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
Well, the transformation of Hillcrest from a former high school to condominiums continues. And now an iconic statue of the school's mascot is on the auction block. The Hillcrest Colt was created by metal shop students in the 1990s, but the renovations to the building call for the removal of the statue. Demolition crews have been sharing photos on social media showing items found in the school's abandoned lockers. That sparked a heated online discussion about what should happen to the Colt. Chris Tingey says after examining all options, they decided to auction the horse off.
We can't keep it on the property. Code won't allow us to keep it. They don't want to trash it. They don't want to scrap it. They don't look to get any of the profit from this. They want to auction it off and then donate dollar for dollar what's raised from that auction and donate that to a charity. So they just wanted something positive to come from this.
The horse will remain on the former school until August, when the auction will be held.
Well, Fiona, we finally received some much needed rain last night. Is there any more in the forecast for the weekend?
Well,